Hey guys, this is Keith from Gaming Trend and Tabletop Throwdown, and I'm here with Sean and Jared from Cool Mini or Not, and it looks like they're expanding on their not side of the Cool Mini or Not. And the first game that we have here that's here to show us is Potion Explosion.
Yep.
So what's the game about?
So it is your final year at school in Wizarding School, and these are your final exams. And so the idea of Potion Explosion is that you are going to be taking ingredients out of the ingredient dispenser, and you're going to be putting those ingredients into your potions to complete them and get special abilities from them. So the real eye-catching part of the game is the ingredient dispenser. And the way this works is on a turn, what you're going to do is take out an ingredient and everything will slide down, and that ingredient will go on the similar colored space in your potion. That's fulfilling one of the needs of that potion to be completed. But what's interesting about the slide dispenser is that you can create explosions as you pull out the different ingredients. So, for example, if I were to take out this blue marble here, these two slide down and this creates an explosion. Whenever two of the same colored ingredients smash together, you take those and any of the other colors of the same type that are touching and pull them out, and then you can add them to potions or put them on your reserve there. Now, sometimes it can cause multiple explosions. That can happen. Like, so for example, if I were to take this one out here, that would cause an explosion with the black ingredients here, and I'd take all of those, and that would create another explosion. So I would take all of these red, and these would come out, and another explosion. So it can you can chain together some like very, very strong moves. As you complete your potions, what's going to happen is you'll flip them over to their completed side, and then each of the different types of potions has a special ability that it grants you, and you're able to even drink that potion and unlock those special abilities. So that's what you're doing throughout the course of the game, and ultimately what you're trying to collect is these merit badges for collecting the same types of potions. So whenever you get 3 of the same type of potion or 5 different types of potions, you will be awarded one of these. And then there's a certain number of those depending on the number of players, and that's going to also be the timer for the game.
Okay, so when all the merit badges are gone,
Correct.
that ends the game.
That ends the game.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Cool.
it's all about trying to find the combinations here and then unlocking the powers of the potions once you've actually completed them.
So once you complete a potion, do you just choose one from the bank area there?
Yep, exactly. So you'll always be working on 2 at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can save up to 3 different ingredients from turn to turn, but everything else goes back into the slide dispenser.
Okay. And this is going to be ready for a Gen Con release?
Yeah, Gen Con release, yeah. And we should say that there'll be slightly different marbles, and the slide dispenser is going to be slightly different. We've improved upon the quality of the marbles and the dispenser, just made it a little smoother flowing.
So it's going to look very much the same, but just things will hold up a little bit better.
And how many players?
Up to 4.
Yes.
Up to
2 to
4?
4.
Yeah.
And about how long is it going to take to play?
45 to an hour?
I think it's about 45 to an hour, yeah. That's
Cool.
usually what it's
Do
averaging.
you have a MSRP on that yet?
It is $59.99.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it has great components already, but you know, a lot of marbles there. It'll be fun for a lot of kids to play
it's
with
a very
too.
fun tactile game that, like you said, all ages of the family can get into this, right? Because the parents can get maybe deeper into the strategy, but the kids are going to love just pulling out the marbles. But I mean, we all love pulling out the marbles,
Right.
especially like when you had that big combo
For
go
sure.
off, right? It's
Yeah, you get that.
It feels good.
Yeah, it's like that little endorphin rush when
Yeah.
you see everything come together, and like you said, like very tactile.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and now we're here to talk about the Unusual Suspects.
Yes, Unusual Suspects is a game we're going to be bringing out at Gen Con, and the goal of the game is everyone is a detective except for one person who is the witness, and the witness has seen a crime. However, there's a little catch because the witness can't describe any of the physical features of the suspect we're trying to track down. They can only describe like their nature and habits. So it's a bit tough for the detectives because we're gonna have to go through a series of questions really narrowing down who this person might be. And the way we do that is there's this grid of suspects, so there's 12 out here, and there's 70 different suspects in the game, so there's a lot of different choices. And then the witness will get one of these lineup cards, and as you see here, there is someone circled. So in this case, we would know, the witness would know this is going to be the suspect we're going to be after. However, we would not know that in a normal case. So, Sean here is our witness. I would give him this card. Now he knows who this suspect is, and he would then go to this question deck. So the question deck is just full of a ton of different questions. So for example, this one is, does he or she know how to ski? The final version actually has some different wording, but the gist is still the same. So now what we as detectives are gonna do, we're gonna wait for him, we're gonna ask that question. Sean here as the witness has a card, an X for no, and a check mark for yes. They have very limited communication. That is all they can do. Just an X
So
or
they
a
can't
check.
even go, I don't think
they can't
so.
do anything. So does our suspect know how to ski? No. So what we do with this information now is we know that the person we are looking for does not know how to ski, so we want to start eliminating, as detectives, the people who we think know how to ski.
So do you do that individually
Or at least the
as
ones
a group?
you think, I think.
Well, right, yes,
Right.
exactly. So it's an interesting thing because while people are trying to figure out like, oh, well, I think this lady totally skis, right? She looks like she's into activities and things like that, kind of sports related activities. But then you also have to think, well, does our witness think that, right? So in this case, all the detectives confer together. So each detective asks the question, but it's kind of a group experience. And you have to eliminate at least one suspect a question. In this case, I might go, okay, I think she knows how to ski. So I'd flip her over, and then I'm gonna say, this guy probably knows how to ski too. He looks like a dude who's been skiing. And at that point, I would then look at the witness and, all right, so he has nodded, and that means we are still good. We have not eliminated the actual suspect. And then it would go to another question, like, does he or she believe in alien sightings? So does our suspect believe in alien sightings? Yes. So we are now looking for people who probably don't believe in alien sightings. And you just kind of keep doing that. You know, I think she looks reasonable. She probably doesn't believe in those sightings. And, you know, I think, let's go with this guy. He just doesn't look like the type of dude to me. And I think Sean has a certain vision in his mind of who an alien sighting person might be. So, and then that's the game. And you just keep going around until you eliminate everyone but one suspect. And hopefully by that time, if you've gotten to that one, you've won. Because you'll immediately lose if you eliminate the wrong suspect. So, for example, okay, let's say I eliminate those people. I'm still good.
Still good.
And you just keep going.
Cool.
So yeah, that's. There's also a way you can score it, meaning like you want in unusual suspects, you want kind of the least amount of points. So there's a track you go down, and it's multiplied by the number of people you've eliminated, and you'll see that the multiplication gets higher as you go down. So the goal, if you're scoring the game, is to find that suspect as quickly as possible. But honestly, even without scoring, it's a great party game. It plays 3 to 16 people.
Nope.
So it's
So a pretty large group.
Yes, it's great for a big group. It's just a lot of fun, and especially if you're playing with friends, and you can kind of you have a lot of that back and forth of like, what do they think, and what am I thinking, and how do I rectify that in my head and find that right person?
And it's one of those games that, like, at the end of it, everybody will like dissect,
Yes.
the decisions that you made and what you were thinking at the certain time. Like, it's a
there's
conversation generator.
Because there's some big arguments where it's like, So I think this guy believes in alien sightings, and then other people are like, there's no way he does.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a big thing where you're like, fine, we'll go to the next person, and then it's like comes back around. So it's a lot of fun.
Cool. And it takes about, what, 15 minutes or so?
Oh yeah, I mean,
It depends on the discussion, really.
Yeah.
Like the level of
I can
debate.
see that.
yeah, I mean, it could be 15, 30 minutes,
Yeah.
but it's a very short game, and you can get a lot of games in.
Yeah.
In a pretty good amount of time.
And this is also a Gen Con.
Yes, this is at Gen Con. It will be $29.99.
And now we're back behind the scenes of Cool Mini or Not at Origins, and we are talking about a new game called Creo, and according to the box, it says it's a cooperative game. So what's the game about?
So this game is, like, in a sense, almost a spiritual successor to the Grizzled. It's a game, like you say, like it's a cooperative game, and you guys are working together to try and build a planet. You're building like different levels and stages of a planet. So the idea is that there is a deck of cards that is made up of nature cards, element cards, and also some nasty bad cards that are going to hurt you along your way. And what you're trying to do is, through very limited communication, you're trying to build out 4 different layers of this planet to get down to the point where you have the actual planet card out there, and then ultimately, hopefully, put the 4 elements on the planet card, and that would be what you would consider like a successful game. So throughout the course of the game, all the cards are going to be dealt out, and so your hand will be made up of all of these different cards, and so there is an order in which these cards have to come out. And so you can sort of you can see, if you want to look at this, like there is an order of operation. So for example, up at the top you can see the atmosphere and the comet. So here's the comet card, and this card can come out with no prerequisites to it, and it requires 2 elements for it to be completed. So on future turns, these elements could be played on the comet, and once that has been completely fulfilled, we can move on, and this unlocks some level 2 nature cards as well. So the mountain and the rainbow become available. So these could be played out on another player's turn, and that brings you down to the next level. And as each of them are completed, you can move forward further and further. Now, a game of Creo is, there's really no communication in the game. There's no talking in the game. So knowing what to play when is difficult, and players all make their decision of what card to play at the same time, and then starting with the start player, the cards are played out in order. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to read the mind of your players and figure out what is the right card for you to choose? Well, based on the board, you're going to have some idea. But also, there are these energy tokens. And so energy tokens are going to be spent to allow for a little bit of communication throughout the course of the game. So you can spend 1 energy token to show a card to one of your teammates. So, for example, if what we had going on here was we had the comet down maybe, and maybe we didn't have any element cards on it yet. If I play before you, maybe I want to spend 1 energy token to show you this card, and that lets you know you don't have to select a green element card from your hand because I'm already going to be playing it before your turn. So that's one way in which we can communicate throughout the course of the game. So when you're selecting your card, you may select a yellow one, and that would complete the comet for us, okay? And we reveal it and play it, and then we progress in that sort of way. Another way to do it is for us to exchange cards. So if I spend 2 energy tokens, I can exchange a card with you. So it may be that I've got the mountain card in my hand. Well, if the comet's not completed, the mountain card doesn't do me a whole lot of good in my hand. But if I'm playing before you, maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as my card, select a yellow element card, and I am going to spend 2 tokens to exchange a card with you, and I may give you the mountain card, so you know that on my turn, likely what I'm going to do is play this down, and you can select this card with hopefully confidence that it's going to have a safe place to land. okay? And that's kind of like a form of like non-verbal communication that will go on in this game. And finally, we can spend 3 of these tokens to take back a discarded card. So for example, if you had tried to play this, you were hoping that somebody was going to play that yellow card, that yellow element card beforehand, and you had tried to play this and it had no safe place to land, well, that would just be discarded. And that's dangerous business because there's only one of each of the different nature cards. So whenever you eliminate a nature card, all of a sudden this pathway becomes much more difficult to complete. You don't need to put out every single card in this pathway. You just need to have a route from level 1 all the way down to level 4, which is the planet. But as you eliminate these nature cards, it becomes more and more difficult and more limited how you're going to be able to do it. Now, as if that weren't difficult enough, we also have some bad cards that are in the deck as well. And these cards are, they're going to show up in people's hands, and they have to be played. They can't be the first card you play, they can't be the last card you play. But what they're going to do is they're going to take away element cards from uncompleted nature cards, that sort of thing. And they're just essentially going to mess up the flow of your play. So, yeah, just another wrench in your plans of planet building. So, very interesting game. Difficult, it is certainly a challenge to get down to the planet and get the 4 elements on the planet, but as you play you get points depending on how well you do. So if you get the planet out there and you get some elements on it, you are going to get some reward. So the more you play it, the better you are at sort of like seeing the layout of the land. So yeah, interesting new title we're excited about.
When is this coming out?
This will be Gen Con.
Gen Con,
Yep.
Okay, and do you have MSRP?
I think $25.
Okay.
I think in that range. Yeah, we're looking at $25
And
range.
how many players?
This one goes up to 6 players.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a decent sized group there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's interesting. Like each round lasts about 30 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And now we're here to talk about Cthulhu in the House, which apparently is a successor to Rumble in the Dungeon and Rumble in the House.
Yeah, it's our version. It's the CMON version of those 2 games. And so what's really great about it is it keeps like the very simple gameplay to it with our own little twist. But new art by John Kovalek, who did, Munchkin and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, exactly. So, beautiful little artwork. Lots of nice little Easter eggs. I don't know if you can get in on the house there, but like lots of cool little sharks in the swimming pool and that sort of thing. So just neat little touches, like a very H.P. Lovecraft kind of feel to it, but still with like its own sense of humor. So I'll go over the game just for like people who don't know like Rumble in the Dungeon and Rumble in the House, but the idea of it is that there are 12 rooms and 12 creatures spread throughout the house, and each character is going to get these two secret identity tokens. So everybody gets 2 tokens that will secretly identify 2 characters that they are going to be hoping to stay in the house as long as possible. And throughout the course of the game, on your turn, you're going to do one of 2 things. You're going to move a character from like if they're alone in a room, you can move them, and they go into a room with somebody else. Or the other thing you can do is you can start a fight if there is 2 creatures in the same room. So when you start a fight, essentially what's going to happen is you just say, I'm starting a fight, and you determine one of those creatures, and that creature is going to be eliminated from the house. So you want to hide your identity because you don't want people coming after you and trying to eliminate you, and you want to eliminate everybody else as you go along like that. Now, one of the twists that we have in this game is that we've got different gateway portals. So we've got so when you do a fight in a room that's got one of these portals, you flip it over and see what kind of portal it is. So this one in particular is a abyss portal. And so what's going to happen is when you eliminate somebody and you throw them into the abyss, in fact what happens is this guy gets eliminated. So it changes who gets eliminated. So whenever you're going to have a fight in a room with an abyss token in it, or with a token in it, you're running the risk of eliminating maybe somebody you didn't want to. So that's gonna mess with you a little bit. We also have, if there was a fight to occur here, and if this guy were to get knocked out, we've got a transport token. And so what's going to happen when the transport token shows up is you're going to be transported to another room of your choice with the transport token, and then you're going to shuffle that out, and a different type of portal is going to come in there. So just a few different twists that like mess with the way you play, and then players are going to score points depending on how long their creatures were able to stay in there. The longer they stay in, the more points it's worth for them at the end of the game. So very simple fun, hidden identity, and plays out in about 20 minutes. So this one plays up to 6 players. So yeah, very
since there's 12 rooms, 12 monsters, everyone gets 2 monsters. So
yeah.
6 players.
Yeah, and you get to see, and yeah, with less players it works as well. So, yeah, fun little game, and like we love that it's got our own little twist and like that unique artwork as well. Like really makes it for us.
And again, a release at Gen Con.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And finally, we have Play Me, a game that looks like it's based on Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know the eat me and the drink me potions and stuff like that. So this is Play Me, and it's the instructions are there. You play it. It's a great game. So in Play Me, it's a race, and what's going to happen is each player is going to take on the roles of one of the different characters from Alice in Wonderland. And you've got 6 dice, and there's no turns in this game. It's just all real time. Everybody's rolling at the same time, and what you're trying to do is you're going to roll up, and you're going to try and make a straight between 1 and 6. And but each turn you can only put aside 1 die. So if you get your 1, you roll again, and you're looking for your 2, and if you do, you keep going. And everybody's racing like this until somebody gets 6 and they slap the right white rabbit, and they've won that round. Now that would be simple enough if that were the entire game. However, there are ways that you can mess with the other players and slow them down. So if one player's running away with the lead, there are ways to block players. So if I'm at the 2 here, somebody else can place down a 3, and I can't advance past that point until I roll a 3, and my 3 just eliminates the block, but then I've got to take it back and I got to roll again until I get another 3. So that is what's going on throughout the course of the game. You can block each other, and you're trying to get your straight from 1 to 6 as quickly as possible. Now, each of the different characters has a special ability. Like, for example, the Cheshire Cat can't be blocked by anybody. And the Queen of Hearts can block anybody with a 1. So she's not limited to blocking them by the next successive number. So there are special abilities for these different characters. The Mad Hatter can advance twice on a single turn with successive numbers if they have them. So all of these different characters, they start off on their Wonder side, and their Wonder side has some special ability that's going to help them throughout the course of the game. That is until they have won a round. And once you've won a round, all of a sudden, you're flipped over to the Madness side. So Madness takes hold of us all when we're in Wonderland, of course. Over the course of time, Madness is gonna happen to anybody. So when you flip over to the Madness side, all of a sudden, your special ability is going to be working against you. It's going to flip on its head, and all of a sudden, characters can hurt you in the way you were able to hurt them. Like, so for example, the Cheshire Cat can be blocked by more than one person at a time. Or the Queen of Hearts, your opponents may block you with a 1 instead of you being blocked with a 1. So winning a round is great, that's what you want to do, but it flips you over to your Madness side, and then all of a sudden you've got something working against you to slow you down. Your goal is to win a round on the Madness side, because once you've done that, you win the game. So you just need to win 2 rounds, 1 on your Wonder side and then 1 on your Madness side, and that's it. Now, there are a few different variants of ways to play it. There is a Jabberwocky variant where it's one very powerful player against many other players, but very interesting game. Simple, fun, crazy dice rolling with a bit of take that. It's neat because players will get into the special abilities of their characters and be able to like use them at first, of course, for their advantage and then for their disadvantage. So, yeah, cool little game.
Yeah, 6 players again?
Yep. That's right, 6 players, wild dice rolling action, racing it, and yeah, good competition. Good, fun competition with like the zaniness of whatever the dice are going to do for your favor.
So, great. And a couple little games from Cool Mini or Not.
Yeah,
Otherwise known for very large games.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we're really excited about the new lineup that's coming up because we love the mini games, we love the big box games. Like that is, like really what we're known for. But we're spreading out into some of the other areas of the board gaming world, and like we're so excited to be dipping our toes in it. Like, with games like The Grizzled and like now Play Me and Creo and Cthulhu and House, games like that, which really explore some of those different types of games, and like, we're really excited about that.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you at Gen Con.
All right, see you at Gen Con.